Ancient Egyptians strapped a dead catfish to their head to cure headaches, and modern neuroscientists just confirmed the core mechanism behind it actually works.
Wait, a dead catfish. On your head. That's the cure. That's what we're starting with today.
That's exactly what we're starting with. The Ebers Papyrus, one of the oldest medical documents ever found, lists it as a legitimate headache treatment, written around 1550 BC.
Okay, so some ancient doctor just went, your head hurts, grab a fish, and people went along with it?
Not just any fish, specifically an electric catfish from the Nile. And yes, people went along with it because it reduced the pain. The question is why?
Electric catfish. Okay, now I'm starting to see where this is going, but also I'm more confused.
The Malapterurus electricus, that's the Nile electric catfish, can discharge up to 350 volts. When you strap it to your head, even a dead one with residual charge, you're getting a low-level electrical pulse across your skull.
So they were essentially electrocuting themselves and calling it medicine.
Controlled electrocution, yes. And here's where it gets interesting. That's almost exactly what a modern therapy called transcranial direct current stimulation does. TDCS for short.
Transcranial? Okay, break that down for me. Like I didn't go to medical school, which I didn't.
Trans means through. Cranial means skull. You're sending a mild electrical current through your skull into your brain. Doctors do it today with electrodes and a battery pack.
So the Egyptians were doing a 3,500-year-old version of something that's on PubMed right now?
Exactly. A 2020 study in the journal Cephalalgia showed that TDCS significantly reduced migraine frequency and intensity in chronic sufferers. The Egyptians just used a fish instead of a battery.
Okay, that's wild. But wait, how does zapping your brain actually stop a headache? Like what's happening in there?
Most migraines involve a wave of overexcited neurons. Your brain is basically having a small electrical storm. The mild external current helps reset that activity, like rebooting a glitching computer.
So the brain is misfiring and you hit it with a tiny counterpulse to calm it down. That actually makes sense.
It does. And the Egyptians weren't the only ones who stumbled onto this. Ancient Romans used the same electric torpedo fish, a type of electric ray, to treat gout and headaches. They called it a living lightning bolt.
Wait, so multiple ancient civilizations independently figured out electric fish therapy? That's not a coincidence.
It's not. Greek physician Scribonius Largus documented it in 46 AD. He literally prescribed standing on a live electric ray to cure headaches and gout. The fish was the prescription pad.
Standing on it. Not even putting it on your head. Just standing. Were they just shocking their whole body and hoping for the best?
For the gout cases, yes, the foot treatment made sense because gout is inflammation in the joints, and electrical stimulation reduces inflammatory signals in nerve tissue. They didn't know why it worked. They just knew it did.
This is giving me serious right answer, wrong reason energy. They had the correct treatment, but completely wrong explanation for it.
That's actually the theme of a lot of ancient medicine. And here's where you come in. You said the hook mentioned something you already own. That's the other half of the Egyptian treatment.
Right, I forgot about that. What's the thing I own?
The Ebers Papyrus didn't just say, use the fish. It said bind the fish to the head using a clay and herb paste. And one of the main ingredients was willow bark.
Willow bark. Why does that ring a bell?
Because willow bark contains salicin, which your body converts to salicylic acid. Salicylic acid is the active compound in aspirin. You almost certainly have aspirin in your medicine cabinet right now.
No way. They were basically making aspirin paste and doing electric therapy at the same time. That's a two-pronged treatment.
A two-pronged treatment that took modern medicine until 1897 to synthesize the aspirin part and until the 1990s to rediscover the electrical part. The Egyptians were doing both simultaneously in 1550 BC.
I need a second. They were ahead of us by literally thousands of years and we just forgot.
We didn't just forget, we actively dismissed it. For most of Western medical history, ancient remedies were filed under superstition. Nobody looked closely enough to ask why they actually worked.
Okay, so here's what I'm picturing. An Egyptian doctor is smarter than we gave them credit for, and we just assumed the fish thing was ritual nonsense.
Here's the plot twist, though. The Egyptians didn't think they were doing neuroscience. They thought the fish was carrying the spirit of the god Horus into the patient's skull to drive out the demon causing the headache.
Wait, what? So the whole thing was a religious ritual to them, not a medical procedure.
Completely religious. The priest-physician would chant spells while binding the fish. The willow paste was part of the offering. None of it was understood as chemistry or neurology. It was theology.
So they got the right answer completely by accident while doing something totally unrelated. The science was just hiding inside the ritual.
That's exactly it. And this reframes everything. It means you don't have to understand something for it to work. The mechanism doesn't care about your explanation of it.
That's kind of a big deal. Because we assume ancient medicine was primitive because the reasoning was wrong, but the outcomes were sometimes right.
A 2019 paper in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology reviewed 150 ancient Egyptian remedies from the Ebers Papyrus. Over 60% of them contained active compounds that modern pharmacology has since validated.
60%. That's not luck. That's thousands of years of trial and error that we just wrote off.
It's empirical medicine without the theory. They observed outcomes, kept what worked, dropped what didn't. It took generations, but the data was real. They just called it divine will instead of clinical evidence.
Okay, so going back to the headache thing, is TDCS actually used today? Like, can you go to a doctor and ask for the fish treatment without the fish?
Yes, and it's growing fast. The FDA cleared TDCS devices for depression treatment in 2021. For migraines specifically, there are already consumer headsets, like the Cephally device, that use the same principle and are FDA approved.
There's a consumer headset. You can buy the fish treatment without the fish. I need to process this.
What's funny is that Cephally looks exactly like something a sci-fi movie would put on an Egyptian pharaoh. It's literally a headband with an electrode in the center. The aesthetic landed in the same place.
Ancient pharaoh headdress to FDA-approved migraine headband. Full circle. That's kind of beautiful in a completely bizarre way.
There's also a broader lesson here about pain. The Egyptians classified headaches as one of the most spiritually serious ailments. Head pain meant something was attacking your seat of consciousness, your identity. They took it seriously in a way that, honestly, modern medicine didn't for a long time.
Yeah, migraines were dismissed as just headaches for decades. People, mostly women, were told it was stress or anxiety.
Right? And the Egyptians were writing detailed symptom descriptions of what we'd now call migraines. The one-sided pain, the light sensitivity, the nausea, and treating them with both a topical anti-inflammatory and neural stimulation. They were more serious about it than 20th century GPs.
That's kind of embarrassing for us. Okay, so let's land this plane. What does any of this mean for someone watching this right now with a headache?
First practical thing, the willow bark part. If you take aspirin at the very first sign of a migraine, not when it's already peaking, you cut the inflammation before the neural cascade fully starts. Early timing is everything. That's what the Egyptians were doing before the fish even went on.
So the aspirin isn't just a painkiller in this context. It's a preventive if you catch it early enough.
And second, cold or warm pressure on the forehead, which is also in the Ebers Papyrus as a companion step, activates the same trigeminal nerve pathways that TDCS targets. You don't need a fish. A cold pack held firmly against your forehead is hitting the same nerve cluster for free.
So early aspirin plus cold pack on the forehead. That's the modern version of the dead catfish ritual. And it's been validated by 3,500 years of empirical data plus recent neuroscience.
That's it. The Egyptians thought they were invoking Horus. You can skip that part. But the rest of it, the anti-inflammatory compound and the targeted nerve stimulation, that's still the playbook. Ancient priest, modern headband, same skull.